Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. The world keeps getting crazier and crazier. Now, today's true crime story looks at a woman and how she actually searched for her look-alike, as some would call a doppelganger, on social media. And then, when she found her, she was so happy. She bonded with her, she befriended her, she even offered her some free accessories just to gain her trust. And you'd be surprised as to the reason why she did all this to build this bonding relationship with her. Because it will turn out that this woman went through all this trouble to find her look-alike just so she could take her life and set the whole thing up to fake her death and escape her personal problems that she was facing in life. This is the true crime story of Sharaban K and what happened between herself and her look-alike or doppelganger. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. Now, before we get into today's story, kindly help our campaign against femicide by going to the comment section and just type in "please stop the femicide" or hashtag "say no to femicide" and help us push this campaign. You can also share our videos to help promote the campaign. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. It helps push our videos to other channels as well to help push the campaign. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Now to the substantive story at hand. This might be one of the craziest true crime stories I've ever covered, and it has to do with the concept of lookalikes or doppelgangers, as some people may call it. Lookalikes have become a very common thing, but nobody thought of it this way, that just by virtue of you being a lookalike, you are perfectly placed to be used as a decoy or a replacement for your other lookalike person to fake his or her death by taking your life or by just unaliving you. Let me put it that way. And this is what happened in this true crime story. Now, it involves a 23-year-old German Iraqi woman by name Sharaban K. And she decided that due to some personal issues that she was going through, she needed to fake her death and escape the pressures of her personal life. To do this, she sat down and hatched a plan. And the plan that she had was that she was going to find her look-alike, kill her look-alike, and then set up the murder scene to make it look like she had been murdered by somebody else so that her death would be confirmed. By so doing, she would have faked her own death and then she would ride off into the sunset and go and live her life. This is a creepy one, and I'm sure as the details unfold, you will appreciate where I'm coming from with that statement. I may also want to add that it's currently an ongoing case in Germany, so the trial is yet to actually begin. But these are the issues that have been put out there after her arrest. Now, Sharabanke hatched this plan, and what makes it so crazy is the fact that she decided to take advantage of the concept of look-alike in this negative way. And going through Instagram for several hours, several days, just to find someone that looks like her. So she could just kill this person and then use the person's body to fake her own death and just be free of her personal problems. Now, with this plan in her back pocket, Sharbanki scouted the social media platforms severally, mainly Instagram, and then she found her victim. Now, she sent her victim, who actually lived about 100 miles away from where she lived, several messages about makeup before allegedly luring her to meet her by promising her a cosmetics kit. Now, this was because Sharbanki was actually a social media influencer and a very beautiful and good one at that. And she was mainly into cosmetic products. Now, in her first attempt, she's alleged to have actually tried to lure her victim, Khadija O, with a plot that she, Sharabanke, had been tasked with recruiting some backup dancers for a very popular German artist whose name I would withhold for now. Unknown to Sharabanke, Khadija O tried to do her due diligence and went behind Sharabanke to confirm with this musician whether it was true that she had tasked Sharabanke to recruit ladies for her upcoming music video. This musician responded to Khadija O and told her that this was not true, she hasn't tasked anybody. And by virtue of this, the first meeting didn't happen because Khadija O backed out of it, saying that she's not interested. But then, unsurprisingly, Sharabanke did not give up because obviously she had found the right fit for the victim of her perfect crime in her mind, such that she knew she had to find another way to lure Khadija O into her kill zone, sort of. So she lured her this time around with a makeup gig that she was going to use her for a makeup promo and then even give her makeup accessories. Now to this, Khadija O actually agreed, and they agreed on a day that they were going to meet. Now, on the day of the meeting, Sharabanke and her boyfriend by name Shaki K allegedly picked the victim Khadija O up in their vehicle and then they drove her to a forest, and at that forest they inflicted several knife wounds on her, to the point that they even inflicted more than 50 knife wounds on her. Most of these wounds were on her face. You will come to understand why very soon. They inflicted most of these wounds on her face and some on her body. And then they left her body in the back of the Mercedes Benz, which was driven by Sharabanke. So just to elaborate here, Sharabanke finally was successful in picking up her look-alike called Khadija O. They took her to the forest, they took her life, and then inflicted several knife wounds on her face, and then they left her body in Sharabanke's vehicle for the police to find. Now, when Sharaban failed to return home that day, her family was worried because prior to that, she had actually told her family that she was going to visit her ex-husband. There's another plot in that message because let's play the whole twist. Assuming Sharabanke's look-alike murder, fake death plot was successful, then it would have also meant that her ex-husband will be questioned, because then the question is, she said she's coming to see you and we never saw her again, and then she was found dead in her vehicle, so you are the prime suspect. So you can imagine, but all this while, what would have actually happened on the blind side of everybody is that Sharabanke was actually alive, but had rather ended the life of her look-alike, Khadija O, and made it seem like she, Sharabanke, had been killed by her ex-husband and left in her car in a forest. This woman is very intelligent, but like I always say, the police and the security agencies are always steps ahead of these criminals. So, Sharaban's family were worried, and they actually expressed their confusion about the fact that she told them she was going to see her ex-husband and that she hadn't returned. Very soon, the police found this vehicle with a body in it, and then they contacted Sharabanke's family. They contacted them because the car primarily belonged to Sharabanke, but because the face of the body in it had been badly damaged, due to the knife wounds, they needed the family to identify the body. So the plan was working because all this while, nobody knew that Khadija O was missing and even any search would have been initiated for her. All the focus was on the fact that a certain woman by name Sharabanke is missing. We found her car, we found a body in it, and we need her family to identify the body. And truly, her family came, and because the face was that damaged, they couldn't really see much of the face. But looking at how the body is, they actually concluded it was Sharabanke. So the plan seemed to have worked. That was the feedback they gave to the police, that unfortunately that's Sharabanke. But there was one flaw in Sharabanke's plans. She did not know, or she failed to plan for the possibility that the police would run an autopsy report and a DNA also on the body. And that is where things got very, very different quickly. Because when the police ran the DNA, surprisingly, they realized it was not Sharabanke that they had found dead in the vehicle, and that what they had actually believed and the family had also confirmed to them was not the case. This was a totally different woman who would later end up being identified as Khadija O. So the whole plot began to thicken, and the police started digging deeper, only to find that this was the plot and she had gone through all this to fake her death. So, fast forward, the investigation, which was rather launched to find a missing woman, which had then metamorphosed into a possible case of a murder after the body was found, had again now metamorphosed to find this same woman, but this time as a prime suspect in a possible case of her actually killed somebody and set it up such that it would look like she had rather been killed by another person. Now, I don't know if you've been following the twist, but it's very, very good work by the police, especially because they could have just written it off as one of those cases of femicide, but they delved so deep and they were able to uncover all these dynamics. And I think her ex-husband is very lucky, because if the police hadn't uncovered this, he was going to be the prime suspect in the suspected murder of Sharabanke, who in actual fact has rather set up her own death or faked her own death by taking someone else's life who is her lookalike and she riding off into the sunset. I think that if these are the facts as played out per reports out there, then Sharabanke was really, really selfish and very divisive, because in doing this, just so she could have her peace and ride off into the sunset, she didn't mind ending somebody's life just so she would set up her fake death. And she also didn't mind throwing her ex-husband under the bus to be in a key position as the prime suspect of her fake murder. Now, if you look at the face, such a beautiful face, I'm sure most people would never ever think that she'll be capable of such an action, but this is what has transpired, allegedly. And I keep using allegedly to qualify everything I've said, because the case is about to go to trial. But these are the reports out there, and as at the time of making this video, Sharabanke and her accomplice Shake have both been detained by the police since August of 2022 and have been charged with murder. And if convicted, they are going to face life in prison. And I agree with this 100%, because you've already taken one life and you are ready to destroy another life. I'm following this case to see how it goes, but what do you think about Sharabanke and this elaborative plot? It turns out that this is not the only look-alike murder situation out there. There's a second case which I'll be bringing out soon, but in that case too, it involved a look-alike, and again, it was about two women. So this has put the whole theory of look-alike and the fashionism around it and the excitement around it into a different perspective, where now if you're a look-alike, you actually have to run when you see the person who you look like, because you'd never know what they are planning for you just by virtue of the fact that you are their look-alike. Somebody would actually consider trying to use you as their look-alike to fake their death. And that will put you in a very bad spot because you may have to lose your life. This is just a video I'm putting out there to educate people, because of late, especially here in Ghana, this look-alike thing is really coming up strongly. But it's fashionable, it helps with entertainment and all, but I don't think most people are educated about it enough to see its dark side, that just by virtue of you looking like somebody, it could put your life at risk. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Leave your comments in the comment section. What do you think about this video? Let me know. And until then, we'll catch you next time. Stay safe out there.